Yo guys, welcome back to a brand new episode of my F1 2019 career mode here today for episode and round number 18 for the Mexican Grand Prix. If you guys missed the last race, guys, then go check it out by clicking on the card in the top right hand corner of your screen. Before coming back to this episode, before we jump into any further spoilers and watch the last race, guys, but today we are here at Mexico, and you can see on the screen right now we have no rain expected this weekend. Nice dry conditions, a little bit of cloud here and there, but overall it should be a dry weekend. And with that, we do have an upgrade on the car. We have a major engine upgrade, our first major one of the entire season so far for the engine, and that's going to hopefully help us out and power us forward a little bit going into this race and help us out hopefully in that massive pit straight here at Mexico. And that upgrade actually is quite interesting because we're going to stay on top of the table and on top of the charts in the R&D race, but Red Bull have brought a massive double or triple upgrade for this race, and they've actually split us and Mercedes in the development race, and they're looking very damn good going into this race, and yeah, it's looking very damn tight. So overall it could be a very interesting one, a very close session, so we'll have to find out. First of all though, we jump into practice, and I went into this session and there was a couple of issues, and I'm going to try and explain them now before we get into qualifying. So basically I use a Logitech G29 wheel, and for some reason today it didn't want to work properly. So basically the brake pedal, the actual brake feels, I don't like it, it feels horrible. So recently I've actually changed my brake pedal to the clutch pedal, and that's been working pretty good for me lately. However, today it wasn't working. For some reason it wasn't detecting my clutch, and I need to troubleshoot it properly and try and get to the bottom of it as to why it's doing it. But basically I was forced to go back to the original brake pedal, which is very stiff, has very little travel, and is very short. So I did some laps in practice to try and get used to it, but overall I was really struggling with my braking. I couldn't brake late, I was locking up a lot, and it was very messy, and I was losing a lot of time. So originally I started off this weekend doing practice and qualifying on 108% AI, but I actually go down to 106 for the race because the brake issues I was having were actually getting a bit annoying, and I was struggling quite a bit. So in practice, you saw on screen, we had a pretty okay session, got some decent points, but now we move into qualifying, and how can we get on here in this session? And we know the pressure, you know what's at stake, the championship is on the line, and that man right there, Lewis Hamilton, is looking pretty damn good for a 6th championship, unless myself or Sebastian Vettel can stop him from scoring maximum points here this weekend. So let's jump into qualifying and let's see how we go. And straight away, Q1, we're going to hit the track on the medium tyres and see how we go. And to be fair, this tyre wasn't that bad, and overall my pace wasn't terrible. Sectors 1 and 2 I was actually okay, but the final sector I was losing like 5/10 to 7/10 of a second, and I couldn't understand why. I was struggling for braking into the hairpin, but overall it wasn't that bad, and I really couldn't understand why I was losing so much time. You can see it on screen, I was 6/10 down after sector 2, but then when we come up to the line, I'm literally 1.3, 1.4 off the pace, and I'm P14. I lost so much time, and I could not understand why, and it was happening all weekend long. So we had to go out in Q1 again, this time on the soft compound tyres. To be fair, I had a little bit of traffic in the form of Sebastian Vettel, my own teammate, who actually got in the way and was giving me dirty air through sector 2. He still wouldn't get out of the way come the end of the lap, and he was an out lap right now, so I was kind of annoyed that Sebastian wouldn't move, you know, or get out of the way. He's in the medium tyres as well, so he's going to be slower anyway. But either way, we're coming towards the end of our lap here, and an improved lap time with that in Q1, and this should see us hopefully jump up the order and go from P14 all the way up to P8. So there you go, an improvement, not a big improvement, it's still 7/10 off the pace, but it's an improvement nonetheless, and that lap will be good enough to see us jump into Q2. And yeah, the gaps kind of speak for themselves, and we are a long way off the pace around here. I can't lie, it was surprising in a way, but also annoying because, like I said, I knew I could go a lot quicker than this, but the brake issues were giving me a bit of trouble. So hopefully I can sort that out, you know, for the next few races. Either way, you can see now we're jumping into Q2, and we're going to go for one big lap in this session. Let's see if it is enough as we go onto the track then. And straight away, turn 1. Down to pretty much 3rd gear really, even though 4th is, you want to enter the corner in 4th and then get 3rd mid-corner, otherwise you will lose the back end on the braking. If you go down to 3rd straight away, you will lose the rear. So for turn 1 it's important to go down to 4th originally and then take it down to 3rd. Now for turn number 4 here, using 2nd gear briefly and then 3rd, then back down to 2nd and then back up to 3rd again. It's all about playing around with the gears here to pick up the rotation and short shift to get the optimal traction as we go through the double apex hairpin. And now we're going to go into the very tricky twisty section here, shades of Maggots and Beckett's at Silverstone / also USA at Cota, as we go through this entire kind of swoop section, and it's all about letting the car do the work. The setup work should hopefully help you out, and to be fair, that's a pretty smooth S section there, but we're still half a second off the pace here as we come towards the final sector. Sebastian Vettel currently set the pace, and we are currently last with 6.5 minutes to go as we go into the baseball stadium over the curb. A little bit too much curb there on that inside left, but now towards the final corner, attacking the inside curb, very flat curb that one, and then on the power nice and early as we run up to the line. Let's see where this lap puts us, and it's going to be P9, not great on the bubble. And I was under pressure. I went again in that session. I put another set of soft tyres, but unfortunately I cut the corner there through the S's when I was a tenth and a half up. I actually found another tenth and a half, and I went on to improve by overall in total by nearly 3/10, and it could have been a lot more comfortable. Luckily, somehow no one behind improved. Somehow, I don't know why, but nobody else improved, even though they only needed like half a tenth to knock me out. So yeah, very fortunate to come away unscathed and get into Q3, but I knew I didn't have pace, and I was really struggling with the balance of the car, like I said, and the braking. So we're now into Q3, and my final set of soft tyres over. I've only got one set, so we've got to try and use it accordingly and put it to good use. So straight away, my exit out the final corner wasn't great. Now down towards turn one, you're looking for the 50-metre board as your reference, and you want to break down to fourth, like I said, then down to third, and take it nice and easy through these first three. Really attack the inside curbs and get the power as soon as you can out of three on the power. DRS open, and so far a pretty okay sector one. Not spectacular, but still okay. We should be close, and we're a tenth down, so that's not too bad. But now a first mistake there into turn 4, and then another lock up into turn 5. Like I said, braking issues are making it quite tricky for me, because this is actually quite a tricky circuit for braking. I struggle with it anyway as we lock up again into the double right. But now we're going to go into the flowing lefts and rights here of sector 2, and it's all about, like I said, carb setup, momentum and confidence as we carry the speed through absolutely perfectly there. No corner cuts, no track extensions, and that's what you want to see as we now come towards the end of sector 2. We're only 3 tenths down, to be fair. It's not that bad. It's actually a pretty decent lap. My best one of the weekend so far as we now go in towards the final sector into the baseball stadium here. And so far, so we've got a couple more lockups here to add to the combined total this lap. But now through the final corner, and overall a very good lap. You know, a couple of mistakes, but generally speaking, a very quick lap. But towards the final sector, we lost so much time again there. Like, literally, we was 3 tenths down, and we lost 4 tenths in the final sector alone. And I don't know where I lost it, because there was no real big mistake, and it was really frustrating me. But yeah, in the end, that was the qualifying result, and Seb actually bagged pole position ahead of Lewis Hamilton, and quite a convincing pole, to be fair. 1.5 tenths over Lewis Hamilton. Lucas Weber P3, very good from him. Devon Butler P4, Max P5, and Sergio Perez, the home hero, P6 ahead of Daniel Ricciardo there, and we only get P8 in the Ferrari. Very disappointing, but a tough session. Like I said, I had too many issues, and also the AR were just very OP. That final sector, I think they were just getting really good traction with traction control out of the hairpin and also out of the final corner, because I can't explain losing 4 tenths. Either way, that is it for qualifying, and we're now going to move into the race here at Mexico for round number 18 of the season for the Mexican Grand Prix. Let's do this.
The air may be thin here in Mexico City. The atmosphere is anything but. The crowd have been chanting and singing, not just this afternoon, but throughout the entire weekend. There's a great love for Formula One here, and no small amount of expectation. Let's hope today's Grand Prix can meet it. At 2,285 metres above sea level, the thin air of the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez poses a unique challenge, not just to a driver's skill, but to the efficiency of their engines as well. 17 corners make up a lap of this 2.6-mile circuit, and you can expect incredible speeds in excess of 220 miles per hour, and overtaking too into the hard braking zones of turns 1 and turn 4. A warm welcome to Anthony Davidson, who's beside me in the commentary box today. Now, can I get your take on Max Verstappen? Looks like they've got a tough race in store today, as grid penalties from changing power unit components has forced them further down the field.
But on the bright side, at least those fresh components can help them maintain the power they need to come through the pack. I expect to see them take a more aggressive approach today to make up for the compromised start.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Sebastian Vettel will start on pole. Fantastic qualifying from the multiple world champion. And it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Weber, Butler, Daniel Ricciardo, Martinez, Grosjean, Magnussen, Leclerc and George Russell, Raikkonen, Kubica, Lance Stroll and Verstappen. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Norris, Perez, Antonio Giovinazzi and Carlos Sainz. Albon and Daniel Kvyat completes the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Okay, so here we are then on the grid for the Mexican Grand Prix, and we start from P6 after penalties were applied. I've also lowered the difficulty slightly from 108 down to 106 because the AI are quite quick here, and also my pace isn't great because, like I mentioned, the brake pedal being a bit more complex, a little bit trickier for me to really get used to because it's so much harder. So yeah, we're going to see how we get on. In terms of the strategy though, we're going to go for the two-stopper here today. A bit of a different strategy, soft, medium, hard pretty much. I might go soft, hard, medium possibly. I'll see how it goes, and depending on traffic and what the situation is, but yeah, the two-stopper is going to be the way to go here today, and hopefully we can do well nonetheless and have a decent race. With that being said though, fuel-wise we're one lap over, and hopefully that should be enough for us to attack. No rain expected, and it should be a fairly straightforward race. All we need to do is try and go forwards and try and chase after that podium. So with that being said, let's jump into it and let's see how we get on. It's time for round number 18 for the Mexican Grand Prix. Right, here we go then. Revs build up into the optimal zone. 5 lights are on. Lights out and away we go. Not the best start you'll ever see. We're going to cover the inside straight away here to avoid that Haas by getting past. I think it's Magnussen. Grosjean gets past in the other one. Down towards turn 1 though. Let's see how brave we are on the brakes. Ricardo's going to turn in on us there, so we've got to back out. Get off the brakes quite early. We're going to try and go around the outside of Danny Rick though. Inside for the next one. Power down. Can we get past? Yes we do. There we go. P5. We get past the Renault, which is good. Good start from us so far. As Lewis takes the lead, Sebastian down to P2, Butler P3, and Weber P4, but he's on the medium, so he's on a different strategy. From what I can tell, everybody else is on soft tyres, so this could be interesting strategy-wise. Will Weber go for the one stop? We know the Red Bull's quite tough on its tyres, so... Yep, so far so good, Jeff. Now we've got to see if we can try and keep pace with these guys. Hopefully, by reducing the AI, we can have a little bit more of a competitive race and have a little bit more fun. Also, we need to try and have good pace to try and make the two-stop work, so we need to be fast in this race, be aggressive, and make it count. Lewis making a run for it early on here, and trying to open up a gap already to Sebastian. Very hot there into the hairpin. The car feels horrible at the minute. I don't know why. Just got no confidence in it whatsoever. Hopefully we can just get through this final corner, get the power down, and then try and have a nice slipstream on the straight. There we go. Lap 1 is done in the books. We've got a nice tow. Let's try and turn up the engine here because Butler's actually dragging Weber along, and Weber's pulling away. As I think Butler's actually challenging Sebastian to turn 1 here, which is not ideal. And I think he's got it done, to be fair. No, they're still side by side. Lewis is pulling away, though. This is not ideal, and Butler has got past Sebastian, so that's not ideal for us. And now Weber's challenging Sebastian here. This is not good. My teammate's going backwards, and there's contact there between the pair of them. Looks like Weber's going to get the move done though. He's got the inside. And there you go. I think he's passed. No, Seb's coming back at him still. They're going to go side by side into the S's. Meanwhile, the Mercedes are pulling away here. Weber, Vettel still side by side here. This is losing a lot of time, but Vettel does get ahead and stays in front. The Mercedes are really pulled away. And Weber gets a poor exit here. We're going to get the run on him. He's got pretty good straight line speed, to be fair. We're very narrow. We had to take a very shallow apex there. Weber gave me a good old, big old squeeze there into the apex, but we do get in front and we get past the Red Bull. Hopefully now we can try and push after the Mercedes and try and refocus a little bit. Hopefully Seb can try and pull away as Lewis sets the pace out front. Have to turn the engine up.
Race officials have enabled DRS. DRS is now available.
Weber's in my slipstream, but I've got a nice tow from Sebastian at the perfect range to get the optimal slipstream. So we'll stay in front of Weber for now. Let's see if we can try and turn this race around a little bit and show what we're about. But Red Bull, you know, they are the improved package this race. They've got a much quicker car. Big upgrades on that thing, but luckily Weber does drop off a little bit now. So let's try and get our head down and make some moves. Right, then at the final corner, personal best. And we're going to get the tow and DRS on Sebastian here, so let's make this overtake. And let's try and push for those Mercedes who have really pulled away here as we breeze past Seb. Job done. Let's not let those silver arrows pull away anymore, preferably. We'll pick up DRS again because there's a double DRS zone. Very good lap there. 18.3, pace is good. I've actually left Vettel behind, he's 1.2 behind. I wonder if Seb maybe has damage from the battles with the Mercedes cars, possibly, because Weber's got past now. We've left him behind. We've got a strong pace here, race pace much better. Soft tyres working quite good for us, and we're pulling away, which is good. Let's try and catch those Mercedes.
We're approaching the pit window. You'll be on the mediums. We're leading our teammate by 1.7 seconds.
That was a much worse lap from me there. But having said that, Devon Butler's got much more pace than Lewis, and he's actually passing for the lead, so that's fine by me. Devon Butler takes the lead in this race. He's mathematically within a pretty poor chance of winning the championship, and if he doesn't win this race, then his odds are looking very slim. Weber's got a better pace than me as well on that medium tyre now. That's starting to really show through, and the tyre on the soft is starting to kick in.
Okay, we think the effects of the tyre deg are going to kick in soon. We should be alright for the time being, but you will start to find it a bit more slippery out there.
Yeah, it's definitely getting trickier. Weber's within range. I think I've got just about enough to keep him behind on the straight for now into turn 1. As the Mercedes actually do battle, and I think they've lost a hell of a lot of time there. Something's not quite worked out. As Lucas Weber's trying to challenge me around the outside there. Very, very bold from the Red Bull driver, but doesn't quite work out and backfires. But the Mercedes have lost a lot of time. We're scheduled to pit in on the next lap. So we'll see what happens. I might pit in maybe this lap and try and undercut them, to be fair. Here we go then. We're going to pit in. I'm going to undercut the Mercedes. I'm going to go for the hard tyres, not the mediums. I'm changing my strategy. Get it all slowed down. There we go. Right then. Come on, boys. Need a nice good stop here. Lots of lag in the pit lane. So that's not going to help. Here we go then. Onto the jack. Come on.
Release.
2.6. Not ideal, but luckily we do come out just in front of Ricardo there, so we don't get held up. And we should have clean air. It should be that shouldn't be an issue. I think the pack were too close to us, so we're going to get a few laps to try and make it work.
One stop left in this strategy.
I'm basically making it awkward for Mercedes because only one of them can pit this lap, so we'll get 2 laps to undercut one or the other. Let's try and have a good outlap though on these hard tyres and try and make up some ground. Okay, a couple of cars in the pit lane, Sainz and George Russell. Not the cars I expected, so we're going to get one more extra lap at least to try and undercut the Mercedes.
The gap behind is 3.5 seconds.
So let's get our head down and put these hard tyres to work. Here we go then, Seb pits in, as does one of the Mercedes. It's been a better lap from us and we're close to our personal best. Let's see what this lap is. There we go, only a tenth off.
Teammate ahead is 14.1 seconds.
I'm actually surprised that Mercedes has rejoined right in the middle of that pack. I really thought we'd have gained more ground than that. I really did. Still, we've got one more lap to get the other Mercedes, so let's try and get it, although that's a terrible turn 1. Very, very poor. A little bit annoying that Mercedes came out just in front of all this traffic, so now we're going to have to get through it all. Somehow that was a corner cut, but we didn't get done for it. We've got the run of Kvyat though. Down the inside, Kvyat giving me a squeeze and a half there. Turning in on me in the brake zone, because that wasn't the line he took. So a little bit of contact, luckily didn't affect us too much. Now we're behind Albon and Norris here. Let's try and get these overtakes done. Norris pits in. So let's try and get past Albon, all cars in the pit lane. Another Mercedes leaving the pit exit, so there we go. We've not undercut them at all, which is very surprising. I'm absolutely surprised. I cannot believe that. So that's disappointing. So we get past Albon there, a little bit close there, almost lost my front wing. But we are through. Butler's on mediums, so I'm guessing Lewis is as well, so different strategy here.
The car ahead is coming to fit the mediums. Car ahead, now running medium tyres.
Lewis sets the pace, 17.4. Did we nab DRS there? No, we didn't, so we didn't get DRS from Giovinazzi, which is a shame. We're up to P5 now though. Crucial stint now in this race. We've got to try and have a semi-decent pace on these hard tyres and try and keep the Mercedes in range. Hopefully they battle a little bit, that would be ideal. There's Lucas Weber. We're going to rejoin or get back in front of him. We're P3 now. But Weber is on the soft tyres, so he's getting very aggressive on the strategy. He started the race in the mediums, of course, so he might have to stop a couple more times, unless he's going to go for the hards later on. But looks like we're going to have our hands full trying to keep that Red Bull on soft tyres behind us. This ain't going to last long. Weber's much quicker. I'm tempted to just let him go and see if he can maybe, spoil the Mercedes party a little bit. But he's got far more pace than me. Like, I'm not going to be able to compete. He's literally right on my rear. I'm not even going to bother challenging.
The gap between you and the next car is 6 seconds.
Here he goes. He's got DRS. You can see the straight line speed difficulty that Red Bull has. But he's slowly but surely edging in front. And there you go. Job done. Hopefully he can now just run away with it and try and challenge those silver arrows, try and spoil their party a bit. As long as Lewis doesn't win, I'm happy, because that's the threat for the championship and we don't want that happening. Debating whether to let Seb through or not. I'm struggling big time and he's quicker than me, but I'm just going backwards, man. I really am. I've got no response. My pace is way off. Here comes Seb. I'm just going to let him go. I'm not even going to fight it. let him take it. I was going to let him go the long way round, but he wanted the inside line, so fair enough. I think just go. I'm not going to challenge at all. It's definitely getting to that crossover phase now where I'm able to keep up with Seb and just hang on to DRS, and I'm doing a much better pace because of it. So hopefully that continues. Dare I say we start to find more pace, because once we get to that medium, things are going to look pretty damn good for us later on in the race. So let's try and hang in there if we can. Lucas Faber in the pit lane. So he's now going to go into the mediums. We're keeping up with Seb here. We're just outside of DRS, but we're staying within range somewhat. I'm trying to save some fuel on ERS now for this final stint when we go into the mediums, because I thought that's going to be my best chance to have a crack at the fast lap of the Grand Prix and get the extra point as well. Okay, Seb pits. We're going to stay out for one more. Lewis as well. We're going to pit in this lap now for the mediums. Yep, don't worry mate, I'm on it. Looks like the AI not going to run the hards, so that's just an issue for me, as I can't have good tyre life around here, so I'll struggle with my tyres. So really, there goes my hope of getting anything out of this race. I was hoping that AI would run the hards, and that's where I'd really come into this race, but that's not going to be the case. Devon Butler staying out. I'm going to stay out as well for a little bit longer, just because I want to have a little bit fresher tyres towards the end, and I think that might help me out. At this point, I don't know, I can't see myself on the podium, so I'm just looking at that extra point. Okay, we're going to pit in this lap then, as Devon Butler pits in. I don't know why he stayed out much longer, to be honest, because he's just given Lewis a massive advantage and a big undercut. Weber's really chasing Lewis down though. We're going to pit in though, here we go. Get it all slowed down, there we go. A little bit sideways into the pit lane, but that's fine. We're going to rejoin, I think, behind Seb in a little bit of traffic, I think.
Exit now.
2.4, pretty average stop. I got away at the perfect time, but Seb's going to go by, and I think we're going to come out behind both of the Haas cars, I think. Although one of them does pit in, we're going to rejoin behind that first one.
Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now.
There's Verstappen, he's not too far behind. But luckily we've saved up a little bit of fuel in the ERS now, so we can try and push on. Hopefully we can try and nab that extra point. I'll take any point I can at this point. Just going to sit behind Grosjean here. Even though Verstappen's catching, it's going to give us DRS, which is perfect for the purple lap. So here we go. Now Grosjean should pit in and release me. There we go. Let's crack on with this then. Let's try and set a lap.
Be advised moving to mix 2. Fuel to mix 2. Okay, gap ahead is 5.7 seconds.
Here we go through the final corner. The benchmark has been laid down by Devon Butler. Do we beat it? Yes, we do. 15.9. Very good stuff then. So we've got the extra point pretty much secured now. So overall pretty decent now. We've got no more fuel ERS, so we're just going to run the car in standard engine mode from now on, and so we can try and catch Seb on track for position for P4. I'm actually going a little bit quicker than Seb here. I've got a little bit more pace. I'm catching around 3 to 4 tenths a lap. So we're slowly pulling him in. We're also dropping Verstappen. There you go, I was just about to say we're dropping Verstappen as well by about half a second. So we're catching up to Seb here in standard engine mode. So let's keep pushing and try and stay consistent, and hopefully we'll get onto the back of him in a couple of laps. I think there's an insane battle for the lead going down right now between both Mercedes and Weber. I think they're all literally battling out on track right now, but it's a shame we can't really get too involved. We just don't have the pace for it. Meanwhile though, gap is now inside 2 seconds. We're gaining, and I'm trying to save fuel in ERS a little bit so I can have a little bit to attack with. You'll see now on the minimap, look at the minimap, Mercedes and Red Bull going at it. But yeah, I'm trying to see if I can just close the gap to Seb here. The gap's gone up a little bit on this lap. That was a very poor sector one from me. Seb's picked up the pace a little bit, so I'm having to respond and try and push a little bit more. He's trying to hold on to P4, and I'm trying to catch him if I can.
Our gap to the car in front is 1.5 seconds.
2 to go. I need to get within DRS on this by the end of this lap, going on to the next one, so I can challenge him on this straight. So
dropping back by about 3 tenths a lap.
Come on, let's see if we can try and get within DRS. I've pushed really hard this lap. I think I've done it. I think we're within range.
There's only 1 lap of fuel remaining.
Here we go then, all or nothing.
This is your final lap of the race.
We've got just enough fuel, just enough ERS to try and make this happen. Here we go, last lap of the Grand Prix on my own teammate. I'm going to go to the outside, come on. Seb holds on the brakes. We're going to go on the outside. Inside for 2. A bit of contact there. Seb's parked on the inside and there's nowhere we can go. I'm going to just get the traction down though, and I've got DRS. Still side by side here. Seb's keeping his foot planted. Very hot on the brakes there. We're going to run it very deep. Seb on the switchback around the outside. I'm going to squeeze him off. No grip left in these tyres, but we get the move done. And we're up to P4 on the last lap of the race. Hamilton leads the way. He's probably going to win the race again somehow, as Lance Stroll retires from the race in the Racing Point. Here we go then through the stadium, and Lewis wins the Mexican Grand Prix, and that could be one hand on the championship for him. Meanwhile, we just beat Sebastian. Yellow flags, and so you can't overtake, and we come home P4. Grazie ragazzi, forza Ferrari. Una gara difficile.
Okay, good job, mate. Really well done. That was a fantastic drive.
And Mercedes have pulled off a great victory here today. What do you think it was, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition today?
I really feel the track layout combined with the track temperatures we saw today suited their car. These cars come alive when the tyres are just at the right temperature, and the driver did a great job managing that as well. They just look so comfortable out there. It's like anything, it always looks so easy when it all just clicks.
And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everybody played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners today.
Right, so here we have the final race results here from Mexico. Mercedes pick up a 1-2 finish. Lewis Hamilton wins, and that could be one hand on the title for him. Devon Butler P2, Lucas Weber P3, and we only managed P4. We do pick up the extra point for the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, but overall a disappointing race for myself and Sebastian Vettel, as we just didn't have the pace here today. Max Verstappen P6, Charles Leclerc P7, and then we've got Magnussen, Perez and Ricciardo rounding out the top 10. And overall a disappointing race, similar to Hungary. We just went backwards, did not have the pace. Sebastian qualified on pole, went backwards, and so did I. Just the Ferrari race pace was not there. In terms of what the race means though for the drivers and constructor standings, first of all, the drivers, we are 50 points behind Lewis Hamilton, and there are 3 races left. It's looking very tough for me, and Seb is 39 points behind. We need Lewis to have a really bad race, you know, whether it's a DNF at some point, I'm not sure, but it's been a tough one, and it's not looking good. Lewis is looking very good for a 6th World Championship. In terms of the constructors though, we still lead by 1 point over Mercedes, and we're about to break the 600 barrier. With 3 races to go, the pressure's on, and we cannot stop. Therefore, developments have to continue, and that's what we're going to do right now. Okay, so we are here on the laptop, and we don't have that many points to spend, and we do have to protect things for next season, but the championship is getting to a critical phase now where we need to try and hang in there, and we're up against it big time. So we're going to make some upgrades, and we've been doing the engine recently. I still need some more work, but we don't have enough points to really go for any upgrades, so we're going to go for the chassis, and we're going to go for something. I've been thinking about it, and I'm going to go for the weight reduction. Tyre wear was tempting me a little bit because we have been struggling a little bit, but I want to go for weight reduction because at the minute we just want performance. We need more performance. So for the next race in USA, we should have a chassis upgrade on the car, and hopefully that will help us out, and we can do some more protecting for these parts later on in the videos and later on in the season. But yeah, overall it's looking pretty damn good. I think I could protect probably the rest of these with the end of season bonus, to be honest, but yeah, that's how things stand, and hopefully we could try and improve and try and stay on top of F1 and try and make up as much of a deficit to Mercedes as we possibly can. But with that being said, guys, if you did enjoy the video, drop a like, and also get subscribed if you are new for daily Formula 1 content, and turn on notifications to not miss a video from me. Finally, check out these 2 videos on your screen if you have missed them. But other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching. Let's see my next one very soon, but until then, it's goodbye from me.